Nick, it's really good to see you. Today we are talking about Secure Act 2.0. We're going to give everybody the big headlines and also talk about some unique tax planning opportunities. So it recently passed Congress and it brings a lot of changes to many retirement account rules and it affects a lot of people. So let's talk about that first. What's new here? And again, who is affected by these changes?
Right. So we've been talking about a lot of this over the last year, this potentially
Mhm.
coming about. And sure enough, they passed it right before the deadline of the end of the year. So going into 2023, we're going to have some pretty significant changes, I think, to a lot of people. But it's also going to bring a little bit more clarity to some other topics as well. So, and this, touches just about everything: RMDs, qualified charitable distributions, Roth IRAs. So it's an ever-reaching plan that they have in place, but it's Secure Act 2.0, so it's a little bit of a step up from the recent package that they just passed back in 2019 as well.
Mhm. So let's break down again some of those headlines. You just touched on it. Those new RMDs, a new age table. So who is affected by this?
Right. So this is starting to affect anybody that is turning age 70, or the new age is going to be age 73, from 1951 to 1959. For those people born after 1960, it actually is pushing their required minimum distribution age all the way out till age 75. So if they turned age 72 in 2021 or 2022, they have to continue to keep taking their required minimum distribution. But if you were going to be turning age 72 here in 2023, you actually don't have to take that RMD until starting in 2024. So there's an extra year of some tax planning that we can do uh, before we get to that point.
Okay. Now, something that you and I were talking at length about offline, these changes to 529 plans. I think this one is very significant.
Right. So a lot of people, the holdback on contributing to a 529 plan was, what if my beneficiary, my child or my grandchild, decides not to go to college? Then what happens with that money? And you take it out for a non-qualified expense, could be taxed, could be penalized, depends on, how you take that distribution. What the IRS has come up with, or what Congress has come up with now, for that, is they have a lifetime amount of $35,000 that can be moved over into a Roth IRA. Obviously, you get the tax benefit of putting the money in there. If you put it in for your state, you get to take a state tax deduction, on that. That money can grow as long as it's been in the plan, the 529 plan, for at least 15 years. After that point, that money can be, taken out and moved into the beneficiary's Roth IRA, as long as they have some earned income, that would match that as well. But
Mhm.
it allows them, to basically take those unused education dollars and move those over into retirement benefits, so that you're not necessarily losing that money or going to be penalized on that money for taking it out for not being used. So
Right.
it definitely gives another advantage to using a 529 plan
Yeah,
now.
it's a really big deal. All right. And next, we want to talk about some tax planning opportunities that come with these changes.
Right. So, a couple different tax planning opportunities that are out there. We've got, qualified charitable distributions, that can
Mhm.
still be started as early as age 70 and a half. That is a major planning opportunity to take Uncle Sam out of it. If you're charitably inclined, donating money to certain charities, 501c3, is the big stipulation there. Can't be to your children, and so forth. It has to be a qualified charity. But if you want that money to go directly from a qualified IRA account over to a qualified charity, you can, basically cut Uncle Sam out of that picture, so that you got more dollars going to your favorite charity.
Mhm. Okay, now I want to circle back real quick to the RMDs because of course when you delay taking your RMDs, you that leads to a larger account balance at death and Congress stripped away lifetime stretch IRA rules. So now almost all beneficiaries must take out the entire balance over 10 years, which is a very significant tax burden.
Right. So, this is part of that tax planning opportunity as well. Not necessarily just allowing that IRA lump sum of money to grow. into a bigger pot until you get to your RMD age, but looking at ways to, play the tax code, to your advantage. They set up the rules. It's your job to use them effectively, and we're here to help out with that and move that money, from those IRA dollars into Roth IRA dollars. They become tax free after, a certain time, and getting the most out of your money in each individual tax year.
Hmm.
And we're going into tax season as well. A lot of CPAs and enrolled agents and tax preparers are going into this period where they get very, very busy, and they're not really doing a whole lot of planning for future. What they're trying to do today is get you the best tax benefit for what you did last
Right.
year. Okay.
Right.
So there's two sides to this. We've got to try to maximize what we did last year, but we also have to look into the future. And
Hmm.
there's definitely some opportunities. And you also brought up the beneficiary side of it as well. So in Secure Act 2 or in Secure Act 1.0, they decided that there's no longer this stretch provision. You can't take it out over your lifetime. You've got to start taking those benefits, after that first year of death, and it's got to be taken out within a 10-year period of time. And that, that limits that amount of time, and it makes, those payments be a lot higher, and it's potentially going to throw people into a higher tax bracket. So
Hmm.
we definitely need to do some tax planning,
Hmm.
and looking into the future of, what can happen. As they say in the past, there's only two certain things in this life, and it's death and taxes. So
Hmm.
let's try to plan for them as best we can.
Right. And plan by having that conversation earlier rather than later is very helpful. So, Nick, what's the best way to reach you if somebody would like to start, creating that plan now?
Absolutely. So if you have any questions, you can reach out to us on our website, iconberryretirement.com. There is our online schedule there. You can set up an appointment with either myself or Luke, and we can go over these different opportunities with you. Otherwise, you can give our office a phone call at 937-498-1128, and we can answer any questions or set up a time to sit down and discuss those questions with you.
Great. All right. Nick, thank you very much.
Thanks, Erin.